Alright everyone, we're back. A little change in plans. I was starting out on my whiteboard with the load save game, and got about halfway of the stuff on it, and got the GUI pretty much laid out, and a basic flow chart of how the save load will work. And I was getting in there and I started thinking about some dialog boxes that I could think of, like an input box when we put in the name, mainly is what I was thinking of. And I started thinking about that and how about do that, and I was wondering, well, maybe I should add another class for dialog boxes because I want to put them in other places too. Like I said, when they press exit game, like on the main menu or something like that, or they press accept to save the settings, or press cancel to not save the settings, and maybe they made changes, some sort of confirmation box or message box or an input box for that kind of stuff. That comes up every now and then. Now, obviously, most of the GUIs we've been doing, including this, the load save game, is pretty set in stone, hard code, and stuff like this. Something like this, which will be reused over and over in different areas for different reasons, makes more sense to put into a class to do that. So, I've kind of sat down and wrote up a little bit on some paper, since my whiteboard's kind of mainly full, at how the dialog class would work, and I've decided for now we're going to go with the same size for all of them, and the main reason for that is we can use the same background image for all of them. And right now all I have is message box, input box, and confirmation box, but I can always add more later. And this is this is kind of a start of a basic dialog class that we can expand upon later for different things I can already think of. So I think that's what I'll go ahead and do now, and we'll get that going. Let's go ahead and minimize this game menu. It is going to be interesting because this is a fairly advanced class, really. Not horribly, but there is a lot more to it. So we'll have to see. This is only my second class I've ever made from start, so it should be interesting. And it will use our GUI dialog as well in order to really to function the way we want for this, and see what we can. Sorry about that. So class for creating and hopefully handling Okay, so we've got that added. We're going to add a couple of variables before I really add the structure and really get into it. So first thing I want to add is an enumerator, and this is going to be called, this is for the types, so we'll just call it types. It's simple enough. Obviously, message box, input box, the usual suspects here. Oh, why am I doing 0 on all of them? That's brilliant. Focus. So I'll put those in there for the start. I'm trying to think of what other variables I might need, and I don't know of any off the top of my head right now, so we'll go ahead and just start the structure. If I could spell it right, thank goodness for IntelliSense. And we'll just call this dialog. So we have that, so let's go ahead and put in its variables for the structure. It's going to have, of course, a type, which is based off of our enum types. Ugh, jeez. You know, you gotta love it when it yells at me. I think I'm gonna have to make this a public enum. Yeah, that made it happy. Gotta love that. So, what else was I looking at? Of course, the actual dialogue, which is the actual, it's the actual GUI based off our CGUI class. So, that's what that is. Visible, that's pretty self-explanatory. Whether or not the GUI, the dialogue is up or not, if it's visible or not. So we know whether or not to use it or to draw it or so forth. Pause is obvious as well. It's just the position. And I can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now. So we'll go with that. So there's our structure, and basically where we're going to make our dialogues, just like we do back at the load screen here. Same thing. It's just going to set it up specifically here on a whim when we need to when we're creating a new dialogue to use. And it looks like it's still going to yell at me, so I'm going to actually go ahead and move it, and I'll just move it into the sub here, or into the structure. That should make it happy. Yeah, it does have to return something, obviously. As cgui.gui. So there that is, and basically you just return. Actually, I think we're going to need a temporary variable in here. For the GUI element. And we're just going to, for now, just have it straight return it, even though it's empty. It's not going to make it very happy right now, but it's okay. I have to do that just to make it happy. Actually, we'll just do return nothing. That'll work. So that's all that does. So I guess before we really continue, I really should have to start making at least the background, because we're going to use the main menu buttons for the buttons on this, but for excuse me, for a lot of the other for the background and also possibly for the label or the input box, we're going to need a couple elements and stuff I'll need to do in Photoshop. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly in Photoshop, start coding some more of this, and of course I'll talk about it more in detail when. And there you go. So this is the new class I was talking about, and this is what we're looking at, making a dialogue class, basically a almost a self-contained GUI that I can reuse for doing simple dialogues. Like I said, this was a nice challenge, and it just furthers my class stuff, and I'm still working on this. I'm still getting it all implemented, because it did take some testing and some working to get this done. And you'll see, of course, when we go into the next vblog, how all that came about. Probably the biggest challenge here was, the biggest challenge, honestly, was figuring out how the input and everything like that will work. And honestly, the biggest challenge and the most time took was trying to make it look good. When I mean look good, I mean actually having the text appear correctly, because we can put in, we're supposed to put in whatever text we want through the hardcore programming for whatever message, confirmation, or the input box message is supposed to be. And I wanted that flexibility in order to do that and make it look okay. Took more work than I anticipated, but I did get through it. I did get it done, and finally have moved on to bigger and better things with this class, and I'm almost done with it. just a little bit more to do, and this dialogue class will be done. So you don't want to miss this. This is some really cool stuff, really exciting. It's really showing off more what my C GUI class can do, and it's a really good example of object-oriented programming and using classes and what you're trying to do. And it makes total sense. And it'll make some other things that come on when we start doing the load save game much easier. Well, I am out of time for my vblog for today. I've hit all 4 parts, and I'm trying to keep it to about that limit because I don't want it to be too much, and these do take a while to upload and make. So by all means, please hit me up on the forums on YouTube. Of course, you can email your contributions. As always, if you like it, please let me know. Please rate, comment, subscribe, throw me a comment, throw me a message on the message board, and of course you can spread the word as well. Don't forget to check out my other LPs and vblogs as well. Until next time.